2 summers ago, Newcastle United were forced to sell this guy due to financial fair play and wanted to stay within the spending rules. Now he's busted midfield for England at the 2026 World Cup, and Man City splashed 150 M's on him. Yeah, this is not a hype story anymore. He was sold to Nottingham Forest in 2024, right? That was a forced move, right? Forced move, right? Forced departure, not a footballing decision. But then fast forward, he's player of the tournament for the under 21s at the Euros. Then he proceeds to have a breakout season for Nottingham Forest, gets his first cap for England against Andorra, and now he was at his first. He plays his first World Cup at 23 years old. In that England debut against Andorra, where he started, and he played a majority of the game, I'm pretty sure he played 90 minutes, right? Might be forgetting that, but Reece James called him a phenomenal player and even argued that he should have been capped earlier for England. No English midfielder at the World Cup had more accurate passes per 90 minute than Elliot Anderson at this World Cup. And Thomas Tuchel, one of his other big calls that, everybody was kind of, what are we doing? Elliot Anderson. Why is Elliot Anderson going to the World Cup? Why not Adam Wharton, right? This is another call that Thomas Tuchel made, and it was honestly the right move. And he played at the base of the midfield, which is a position that Declan Rice owned for England. But in turn, it actually freed up Declan Rice to play in, honestly, the position that I think he's better at, which is the number 8 role for England. I mean, even Erling Haaland was, spotted on camera saying, 150 million guy, right? Even he was, saying, because he's going to City, but, saying even Erling Haaland was liking what he was seeing. That is the level of respect that he's already getting, right, from elite opposition. Well, now his teammate. This is one of the great under-the-radar stories for the England squad in this World Cup. I know they lost, right? They got sent home by Argentina, but this is one of the better stories coming out of the England camp, in my opinion, because everybody's going to be talking about Jude. Everybody's going to be talking about, Harry Kane, and even Jed Spence. Jed Spence went crazy this World Cup. But the guy who was dictating the tempo of every single England game, right, was this guy, Elliot Anderson, the same guy who was surplus to requirements at Newcastle United 2 years ago. And it's always beautiful to see those stories because, in his case, Elliot Anderson, right, went from being a surplus for requirements, right, and he just didn't make it. Not only did he make it to the World Cup, he made himself indispensable and will, without a doubt, if he keeps it up for Man City after earning this big move, will be a shoe-in for one of the first names on the team sheet for England and its midfield for probably the 2028 Euros and the 2030 World Cup. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. Is Elliot Anderson one of the most underrated players in the England squad and one of the most underrated stories and best stories for this World Cup 2026 tournament?